Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Coy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to Coy'sSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.
Hey, man.
There we go. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Arkansas Diamond. I'm going to have a hard time getting used to this. The Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. We had to kind of change the name up a little bit. Kind of got in a little bit of trouble. So we had to change your show up, had to change Otis's show up, and kind of do a little bit of tweaking around. But we got it set up now. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Coming in hot a little bit, but that's all right. That was interesting game on Sunday. Arkansas taking on UCLA, lost 81-66, and that was still kind of see Mike Neighbors has got a little bit of work to do, a little bit on the bench there.
Yeah, I think so. And obviously they're a little beat up, had 3 walking around in walking boots after the game, and they're all going to be able to play. But it's one of those things where they're, kind of sore. So you never want that. But that was after, kind of a brutal little stretch there where they, had to play a lot of high caliber opponents. It's clear that UCLA is a legit title contender. They looked about as good as a team overall with the balance that I've seen come in there in a long, long time, especially one that wasn't an SEC team. And they looked like they had it all. And Arkansas could have played a perfect game, and still I don't think they could have pulled that off. It just, like too dominant inside. And not only did she do a great job, Lauren did a great job, scoring inside, but she also did a great job getting her teammates the ball. They all of them on the floor could shoot. Lauren Betts, I should say, the 6'7" center, which is always cool to have.
Yeah. Whenever you have that distinct height advantage, it makes life a little bit easier as a coach.
Yeah, and as you said, they get back in action tomorrow night against Louisiana Tech. Ironically, a team they played in the WNIT last year here in Fayetteville. Doesn't look as there is the kind of team they were last year. They've started out 2-6, have played a pretty tough schedule as a lot of these smaller schools have to help the budget and all those things. But this should be one as long as Arkansas can get itself back healthy that could give them some confidence as they head into a couple more games and then have a pretty long break, like 10 days.
Yeah, because that'll be the end of the semester, rolling into the Christmas break, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they have a game on December. Obviously they have UAPB on Sunday up here, and then they have the doubleheader with the men in Simmons Bank Arena the following Saturday. Arkansas women play the early game around noon, and then the men come in at 6:30 and play. So that'll be fun for all the Central Arkansas residents to get a chance to see them up close and personal.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, making sure that you guys are, all the fans are getting out there supporting Mike and the ladies. Speaking of support, Sasha Goforth is having to step back a little bit. Also, I think I'd like to see her be able to come back healthy, and I think honestly the rest of the state would, and making sure that she's right and when the time is right for her to come back as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and her health's the main thing. I think it's interesting they called it a pause, because and if you're calling it a pause, you probably hope that she's going to be back. But suddenly, this team doesn't look like we thought it would overall during the during the preseason, because you thought you were going to have Sasha, you thought you were going to have Jersey Wolfenbarger. Both matchup problems that can do a lot of different things, and both of those are not in the lineup right now. That being said, I did think the bench played really well down the stretch. He had taken some of the starters out because they were getting blown out, and the bench came in. Jenna Lawrence, Carly Keats, some others came in and did a really good job of getting them back in the game, and so that was good to see. And especially with what they're going through, down a couple.
Yep. Always interesting this time of the year. Portal news. It seems like it's starting to kind of. We're right now here at Hogville. I mean, it's you, Otis, Alyssa, myself. We're constantly watching social media. Who's coming? Who's staying? I mean, it feels like 7-Eleven back in the day when it was always in and out, and I feel like that's exactly what it is today.
Yeah, and I read a couple of things not too long ago. They were talking about 40% of the people that get into the portal, and that's in all the sports, don't go anywhere. That they or go down to Division II. They end up retiring, medical, or just not playing anymore, becoming a student. It's kind of wild when you look at it, but you hear so many names jumping in the portal, and there's only so many spots, obviously.
Yep.
You're switching things around. I mean, Arkansas, certainly has lost some playmakers, or at least ones that hadn't been playmakers before. And, and talking about Rocket Sanders, obviously didn't have the best year. And I think that was because of health. And I would be stunned if he doesn't end up at Florida State. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I've been beating that drum too. Yep, I think he will.
And so, I guess you're still waiting on KJ, to make his announcement one way or the other. The fact that Coach Petrino went in and saw a quarterback from North Texas, recently, maybe kind of tells you which way they're leaning. Or either that, or he's decided that he needs to go out and over-recruit what he has on campus, which could always be the case. But to do that, then somebody else is probably going to leave.
Yeah, and I like the fact, though, that he feels like there needs to be competition on a day in and day out basis, regardless of who the quarterback is going to be here. And that's one of the things that I feel like it's going to be an iron sharpening iron.
And they are going to have a KJ at quarterback. I mean, that's for sure. Whether it's KJ Jefferson or KJ Jackson, the two, the freshmen who they have a commitment from. Clearly, I think it was interesting. I believe it was Tom Murphy at Arkansas Democrat Gazette that asked Coach Petrino basically, hey, what kind of are you looking for? Are you looking for a Ryan Mallett, or are you looking for a Lamar Jackson? And he's proven that he can work with both of them, and help them get to where they needed to be. So I don't think he has a one-type quarterback in mind to run a system. I think he runs a system, and let's be honest, as Coach Pittman has made it clear, he's in charge of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are a lot of people who seemingly think Bobby's in charge of everything, but he's not. Coach Pittman is the head coach, and I think this is all going to work out pretty well. I may be wrong. I mean, I've said since this happened, it's either going to go spectacularly great or spectacularly bad. I kind of stick with that. I don't think there's too much of a middle ground. But I do think when you look at apparently what the interest was, and there was some, offensive coordinators' interest, but a lot of the names that were being thrown around were not going to end up here because they were looking at head coaching jobs and other places that, let's be honest, there's this staff has a year, you would think, to get it turned around and get back going the other way, or everybody will, we'll have transfer portal next year and it'll be coaches.
Yeah, that is so true. And what I know that folks have talked a little bit about what type of offense we're going to see next year with what Bobby's bringing in. He's going to fit his scheme and his system to the players that he has, and not to expect the players to fit to the scheme and the system that he's bringing. Well, and that to me is a huge
it's a Jimmy's and Joe's thing. He's always been about feed the studs, and when he's had them, obviously there have been some years when he hadn't, and that's why, he ended up, I guess it was Louisville. He lost his last 9 games there because, didn't get the recruits that he wanted. That was right before the portal and NIL came in to be in. And it's interesting, every time I probably have a different look at things than some do right now. I'm not a fan. I try to be objective about things, but if people are leaving that were taking up portal money, now you have more portal money to offer others. And, 6 of one, half a dozen of others is one of my favorite sayings, but obviously it didn't work here this year. They sure sound like they're promising that with this Arkansas Edge, there's going to be more portal money available. So, you're in the process of buying you a new team, or at least a portion of a new team everywhere, not just here at Arkansas. It's amazing. Ohio State had 11 people get in the portal.
Oh, that was They had a ton of people jump in. Texas had
a ton of people jump in. Although I understand he might have been over-recruited and might not be there. He might have not been the starter last year, but he sure was the starter this year. Every Saturday I watched him.
Yeah, same here. He was always out there running the signals. I felt like the NCAA came back out yesterday. Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, came out with an announcement that schools will be able to start paying players to a certain extent. I felt like the NCAA was trying to take back the portal or the NIL money a little bit, because you're seeing a huge influx of money into NIL versus back to the schools. And I felt like the schools are trying to take some of that back a little bit. If they do, I really feel like that these schools are going to eventually have a salary cap. I feel like they're also going to be running their portion of NIL football, whatever it is, how it looks, like an NFL team, because you're going to have a certain amount of players that are going to be getting paid X amount of dollars to be able to, bring in the starting 22. And then it's just going to have a different dynamic, because Charlie Baker even said that this is just the start of it. This isn't the end of it.
Yeah, I've been impressed with his words. We'll see what actions, come out of it and how that dictates everything. But I do think that for the longest, this has not been a sport. It's been a business. He's now saying that they can directly, I think that word doesn't get mentioned enough, they can directly do it. They've always supposed to have had their hand out of it, and the collective is supposed to be doing that. But yeah, right, sure.
Yeah.
And I'm 6'7" too,
Yeah.
It was a wild west when they threw it out there. It was an individual state thing at first, and some were getting it done and moving it down the line. Others haven't. I don't think there's anybody here who truly believes that Arkansas has been at the forefront of the NIL. Right now, you would have to make a big announcement about Arkansas Edge if you had been doing things. And Coach Pittman, who's sometimes brutally honest to the fact it backfires on him, Well, but it's basically talked about how there wasn't enough money here, and other teams were getting more money in the portal, and Dave Van Horn says it. He doesn't say it directly at times. Other times he does, but you clearly that is a force in college athletics or the business of college athletics. However, we're looking at it now. It's just like anything else. It's an open market now. You're not supposed to talk to athletes before they get in the portal. Yeah,
no tampering.
Yeah. But who's gonna? I mean, who's the power that's going to say you're getting something? It's not the NCAA anymore. They can't say, oh, you were tampering and all that. I mean, everybody believes that Oklahoma tampered with the wide receiver that did Mike Williams that ended up going over there, and but Mike Woods, excuse me. There's so many Mikes that catch passes in the NFL college. Michael Woods, and he went through spring practice even, and then left after then for what many people believe was a better offer. And when you said that a couple of years ago, people were like, don't you know? And now I think everybody would pretty much believe that everybody is leaving for better offers. And some parents are being very clear about that on social media.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I feel like LeVar Ball was kind of the the precursor to what you were going to sing in the NCAA area. Maybe not quite as vocal, but I feel like you're going to start to see some parents that are going to be that vocal because they feel like the squeakiest wheel is going to get the grease.
Richard Davenport and I were in a Las Vegas AAU tournament with him and his sons one time. It was quite an experience. I don't know if I want to view it as a positive one or a negative one, but it was we were just sitting there, and it wasn't about the play. It was about who was at the arena and who might bring money here, who might bring money there. It's come a long way since then. Again, not sure whether it's positive or negative, but it is what it is.
Yep, it is. You just mentioned DVH. He actually had a press conference this week. I do believe it was Monday, and was kind of going over the recruiting class that they're bringing in. Kind of wrapped up the fall baseball schedule. Kind of what he's looking forward to. Was there any takeaways that you had coming out of that presser?
Not too much. I mean, it's stuff that if you had gone to the scrimmages, which I obviously did, almost all of them. I think I missed a couple, but there's still not any definite of who's going to be where starting. I mean, you've got, and he likes that the fact that they'll have competition, throughout this little bit of off season. Back when they get practicing again, he get a chance to see everybody. He feels great about his pitching, as he should. Unless injuries, there's that starting weekend lineup is all set with the two guys that have been around here in future seventh round major league. Future seventh overall draft pick Hagen Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals. Which that's what I'm hoping for. Now the Cardinals have the seventh pick, he should be right in that mix. So they can go ahead and take him. But Brady Taggart, obviously, and then you brought in Mason Molina, who, I think walked a little bit more than he thought. But those three guys are, going to be quite a tandem trio, whatever, on the weekends. And you've got people behind them, especially freshmen, and sophomore Parker Cole and some others. Will McIntyre kind of gets lost in the mix, but he's going to be a Kevin Kopps type in that he can go give you many innings and get you to whoever is going to be, your closer in that situation. I think that, I have noticed that the Rolling Stones are playing in Atlanta in early June and playing in Denver in early June. And I would like to see them before they're dead and I am. But I'm going to be busy in early June. With this baseball team. So maybe I'll get them when they're 81 and I'm 61.
Leslie Bynum asked both of y'all, or she's asked for. Let's see here. She said, "How does the NIL affect Razorback baseball?" I do believe it affects baseball the same as it does with basketball, with football. The only difference would be the scholarships, but you can supplement NIL with the lack of scholarships. And really, I think at that point, it might help baseball get back up to a certain level of expectation of
Yeah,
scholarships that has
obviously
been
they have
there.
just 11.7 scholarships to divide among 40 people, which means a lot of people are walking on or just getting
Yep.
books and all this kind of stuff. I'll tell you directly how it affected them this last year. Paul Skeens, the nation's best pitcher last year, now he's #1 draft pick, dating Livy Dunn, living his best life, all that. But he visited here, and Arkansas thought they had him because Van Horn has told this story. They thought they had him, and LSU talked him into coming for a visit. He did, and they had more money down there to offer him, and that's what they did, and that's why LSU and him were standing at the end there. I mean, put him on Arkansas last year.
Ooh, filthy.
You're still going to have the pitching injuries, but you still would have had him every Friday night in Arkansas. One is, as Coach Van Horn pointed out, Arkansas won the SEC regular season. He's tied with Florida, and it seems like that gets forgotten. He said because LSU winning the national championship, and that's the ultimate goal at the end. But he made a good point in that this baseball team that did battle through injuries should be rewarded, got rings, and should be remembered as a really good baseball team, especially for what they fought through adversity to get back to. And it didn't end the way they wanted to, and it ended quickly. But it's a situation where they have to get the credit that they deserve for what they did during the regular season.
Yep, they do. Also, Leslie wanted to wish both of us a very Merry Christmas.
Same to her.
And same back to her as well. And if you guys have any thoughts, concerns, questions, throw them up there. We'll put them on here. We'll answer them for you. Make sure also to hit the like, subscribe, and share button with us as we spread the word. Also, a quick note, Hogville on Facebook has changed. You've got up until the end of the month to switch over. We have changed the page now. Instead of it being a group, it's a page now. So it's a little bit different. It's the same content. You're still going to get all the free stories from Dudley, from Kevin, also from Otis. And it's trying to drive folks to participate on Facebook, but also participate on the message boards. And Dudley, you know as well as I do, there's some fire stuff on there.
It's one way of putting it. I like the interesting, certainly the opinions of fans are valid. Sometimes, just like anybody else, kind of gets out of control with how things go. But that's one of the many reasons we have jobs is because there's passion. I mean, obviously, there was nobody apathetic toward the end of the season, end of the football season. It was either you were too optimistic or you were too over the top. There's no middle. I thought, and none of us, absolutely none of us, could have believed what is transcribed. Didn't see that one coming. Obviously, it's clear that Bobby Petrino didn't either. That his agent got the ball rolling, and it worked out for all involved, at least to this point. Again, I think it's going to go spectacularly great or spectacularly bad, and I'm here for all of it. I'm sorry for Alyssa and Florida State, but man, I love chaos. It keeps my job.
Hey, it makes the content a little bit easier because, as a lot of folks know, other than the portal, there's not a lot of Razorback news that's out there. I was quite surprised whenever I texted you and Otis Monday night when we saw the Jalen Cadlon is back in the portal as well. That completely blew my mind.
I just, sometimes I just don't know what to say. I have loved the kid since he arrived here on campus, went to Texas. He's done a lot of stuff, with our program that we used to have at the Grove, the Players Show, and he was really good at what he was doing there. And I think he's just a great kid, now a great young man. I guess he's not a kid anymore. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I'm sure that that he would probably be welcome back here. I would think so, at least by the coaches and by a portion of the fans. I mean, it's all about getting good players here. The only problem is, much like the over 35 starting staff for the St. Louis Cardinals, the injuries has been something he's battled throughout. He was misused as a freshman. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He should have been playing a lot more early. You wish him well. He's a young man that could have played center field for Arkansas's baseball team as well. I don't know that a lot of people know that. He might have been as good on the baseball field as he was on the football field, but he decided to take the gridiron path.
Yep. So yesterday, Courtney Deifel and the softball team announced the 24 schedule. I was taken by the fact that they're going to play Wichita twice at Bogle Park now. Think about it. What happened last year when they went to Wichita? They got smacked around. Not gonna lie, they got beat.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to see them return the favor.
Obviously, we had talked to her about the schedule, and she had talked about having some tournaments at the start of the year. I didn't know it was going to be 5 in a row. I think the first two are away in Florida, and then the next 3 are home. One of those matches up with the Arkansas baseball team playing in Arlington at Globe Life Stadium again. And you and I can talk a little bit about that later on. You may need to. That's the home weekend. If you can do it, you may need to handle that weekend. But it's. I mean, they're low. They were going to be good anyway, and then they went through the portal and got some great players, and they have some great freshmen coming in. I got the opportunity to go watch all of them during the Razorbacks Unlimited, and just from the top on down. I mean, it's almost a. I don't want to say it's a problem, but it's almost like as if you have so many great hitters, you don't know where to slot them. And she, did a few different things during the Razorback Unlimited, but I mean, as a pitcher, you're just going to have to buckle in for the ride because, I mean, it starts with Reagan Johnson and her running and slapping and butting and racing around the bases, and it just goes on from there. There's so many that can just hit. They're going to. Is Bree Ellis, the Auburn transfer and social media star.
She's very active. Very active.
She said, it's just pick your poison. I mean, you're just going to keep going. You can't pitch around one of them to get to the other up and down that lineup. And, that's, I'm sure makes Razorback fans smile. I know it certainly does the head coach.
Yep, definitely. Starting out in the season, a couple of matchups that I've looked at that intrigued me. One is down when they go to Boca Raton. That first weekend, Michigan State, Penn State, and then they head to Tucson and play Arizona, Long Beach State, and Omaha. Those first 2 weekends, I feel like are going to be able to set kind of the tone for the season because they're seeing some pretty good matchups early on.
Yeah, I think that they're going to be so good that maybe we should send somebody, to Boca Raton to cover that first weekend. I won't hold.
But somebody's got to do it.
I won't hold my breath on there, but I will take one for the team in that regard if need be. I think personalized coverage at an event is the way to go. We'll see, though. I'm looking forward to both what Arkansas is going to look like on the diamonds, both baseball and softball. And it's I've always said that I don't root for college teams. It wouldn't be fair. That's not objective. But it sure is a lot easier to cover them when fans are smiling and not going after, the coaches as has been, and the players for that matter, as has been this football season, which I think we can all agree was a cluster.
Yep. Another matchup that I see that they're going to be doing the home and home with is going to be with UCA. Mm-hmm. And UCA gave them every sort of fit that they could just not – what I took from the most was that it wasn't the way that they initially came out. It was the way that they responded because it felt like the UCA pitching, just baffle the batters in the batter's box. But I really don't think that that's going to be the case this year.
Well, two things about that. UCA has a great program. It is a great head coach, and did a lot to put themselves in the limelight last year. And also, it's just like any of these other teams, in-state teams playing Arkansas, getting their chance to. It's may not be their biggest game of the year, but it's one of their biggest games of the year because you have to, you'd say NCAA tournament and different things like that, would be your bigger games. But you could see the desire and want to and excitement, and they brought a lot of fans, that night up here. I guess it's great to see, and I'm not one of these guys who believes that you need to besmirch the reputation of the other schools. A lot of them have great programs in a lot of different sports, and someone who grew up in a community that had less than 50 people, I'm all about the small schools, small towns getting a chance.
Yep, and that's going to be nice to see. You got South Dakota State, Nebraska is going to be coming to town, and also this year the SEC tournament will be in Auburn, Alabama this year. That's one of the things.
Nebraska may be bringing the best pitcher in the country. She certainly was last year. Transferred from Oklahoma to home. So, that one will be fun.
Yeah, that's and I would say she's probably going to be starting when they come to Bogle. That's going to be some must-see TV because you want to see top talent like what Nebraska has, bringing in starting pitcher. I think is it Jocelyn Abdo, I think.
Yes.
Going against this lineup, you want to see the top mat. You want to see good on good. That's what you're going to get with this. And so I think that you got to think that they're going to pack Bogle Park out for this for a matchup like that.
Yeah, and I don't think that. I think it's going to be interesting the growth of softball from where it was when they were winning 6 and 7 games to now. Has been amazing. It's going to continue to get better. I'm all for them getting a radio deal. I hope that comes along. Later on down the line, I think they're good enough that should be a mix. I mean, you don't have to have a ton of affiliates to get started, and I just think they deserve to be on the radio. And I realize in travel costs and all that factors in, and I'm always willing to spend somebody else's money, but not mine.
Yeah, always.
I'm really looking forward to this season and covering them. When you get the opportunity to cover really good teams, and I do think both of these programs, and you don't have to have great kids on your team, but I do think both of these programs have that right now.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I kind of took whenever I first started writing for the Arkansas Traveler. Mason Choate was my editor at the time, and I asked him, I was like, what do you have open? And he said, well, nobody wants to cover softball. I was mind blown. I said, are you kidding me? He said, can't get anybody consistent to go out there to cover it. Now, granted, these are 20-year-olds to 18, 19, 20-year-old students. But, having a top 10 program fall in your lap and cover them for 2 straight seasons, that right there just got me fueled to watch these ladies and watch Courtney's program grow to what it is today. And the fans are just electric. They make the whole entire time worth your time to go watch them and give them the support that they really have earned.
Yeah, and I got to admit, I fell in love with when fast pitch softball was coming around. I coached one of our daughter's teams, Lindsay, who was on the Fayetteville High State winning championship team, and just kind of fell in love with it, and playing AAU ball and learning. I used to get up and hit at the end of each practice. It's tougher than it looks, and maybe I felt a little too good when I would hit one over the fence, which was like 200. But I really enjoyed it, and getting the opportunity, and then the Oklahoma pitcher who's transferred to Nebraska is Jordy Ball.
Jordy Ball, that's who it is.
Yes, yeah, and I was just thinking, me and Pedro were watching the the Women's College World Series last year, and were just entertained by her reactions out there on the out there on the mound, and also her delivery is just all arms and legs going everywhere. So it'll be fun to see her come pitcher.
Yep, and also another thing to look forward to next year is you've got Oklahoma, you've got Texas rolling into the mix now, and it's
be the Gasso Bowl.
Yep,
Patty and mom went to Oklahoma, and her son was an assistant coach here now, DJ.
I'm telling you, the SEC has got to somehow figure out either a home and home with Arkansas and Oklahoma during conference season. I don't know if that's something that they might be able to explore. Get Texas back in after the real heartbreaking loss that they had 2 seasons ago in the Super Regional. There are some storylines that the SEC can get right. I just hope that they do get it right.
Yeah, we'll see more as it comes along. Obviously, as you said, 2 great programs coming into the SEC in a lot of different sports. Don't know if they all the time yell Texas is back. Well, Texas is back in the same conference as Arkansas, or will be next year, and I find that entertaining. I've never been one of these people who wanted to shift to the Big 12, Big 8, Big 6, whatever, 16, whatever it is now. I believe you should have success in the conference you're in, and I wouldn't want to go back to the formation of the Southwest Conference and the Big 8, whatever they put together there. As someone who's winding down his career, at least on a daily basis, it'll be some nice stories to write as I walk out the door.
Yep, most definitely.
Not any day. No, it's a while. So, I want to be fully vested with that Social Security.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to. My dad, I'm telling you, you have to make sure that you're going to get fully vested, because my dad sat there, he waffled for 3 or 4 years. And I told him, I was like, just stick it a little bit longer. And I tell you what, he's been happy as a clam ever since. But well, Dudley, I'm going to get you out of here, man. We will link back up on Sunday at 4:30. And if there's any program changes, we'll let you all know on Facebook, Twitter, and also on hogville.net. And Otis and I will be jumping in at 3 o'clock, and then a special Saturday morning edition of the Huddle with Marty Houston. He's got some engagements that he has to go to, and so we were gonna fire that up on Saturday at 10 a.m. And so grab a cup of coffee, get some breakfast, and jump in with us.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all take care, and we will see you all on Saturday. This has been the Arkansas Diamond Report with Dudley Dawson. I'm Jason Pattison, and thank y'all for joining.
Tired of serving up the same old tasteless victuals to your family? Step up your grill game with new seasonings from Cloy's Southern Eats. Based off famous Southern recipes, our seasonings will add what's been missing to your family's feast. Add it to steak, chicken, shrimp, you name it. Serving up these fixings is going to make you the hero at home. So head on over to CloysSouthernEats.com and order yours today. Come get you some.